Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson would be the first black woman to become a U.S. Supreme Court justice. And today she will get a chance to talk directly to the Senate Judiciary Committee about her story and about her experience. Over my shoulder over here, police are lining the front of the Supreme Court. And then that fence over there has been up for weeks before we knew when this decision would come down. We are expecting President Zelensky to really talk about what it's been like on the ground in his country, watching it go to war and getting brutally attacked by Russian troops for almost 3 straight weeks at this point. With this ruling, the justices have basically let states decide how to handle abortion moving forward. These orange flowers in this memorial represent the increase in gun violence. They say about 5,000 more people died in 2020 when compared to 2019. It was heavy. You could feel the heaviness, and many of us were actually watching from a live stream because we couldn't even get into the hearing room. There were so many people supporting these victims and loved ones. Both the full FDA and CDC need to sign off on the vaccines before shots can get into arms. But good news for parents, that could be happening as early as this weekend.
What is the feeling in our nation's capital?
Well, Val, you know I love talking about Black Girl Magic, and that's really what we're feeling across the nation's capital, because this really is a historic and powerful moment for Black women across the nation. Juneteenth celebrates the end of slavery, but Daniel Rosen says a form of slavery continues inside prison walls. He says he knows firsthand after serving 6 years.
You feel like property of the state. A lot of prison uniforms say property of that state, and that's not about the clothes you're wearing. That's about the person.
Rosen and Robert Willis, who also served time, are part of a national push to improve workforce conditions for prisoners.
Being dehumanized, not appreciated, and it actually affects you when you return back to society because you don't know how to value yourself as an individual because you've just spent the last number of years being, in slave-like conditions.
A new ACLU report examining prison labor shows some states pay prisoners an average of 15 to 52 cents an hour. But these 7 state prison systems don't pay at all for a majority of its prison work. In a statement, the Federal Bureau of Prisons said humane treatment is a top priority and that an inmate's job should be, quote, consistent with safekeeping of the inmate. Congresswoman Nikema Williams is leading the effort to remove the slavery clause from the 13th Amendment that still allows it as punishment for a crime.
As we're building towards the future, we're correcting those things from the past. And this is one of those stains of our past that we absolutely need to address.
These men say it also sends a message to prisons.
That human rights matter because at the end of the day, this is a human rights issue.
The ACLU is also pushing for incarcerated workers to get the same labor protections as other workers. I reached out to the U.S. Social Security Administration, and they told me there were about 32,000 disability claims that mentioned COVID-19 since the pandemic started. I talked with one woman who applied for those benefits, and she says it's been an uphill battle. More than 2 years later, this is Ashley Strobridge's reality with long COVID.
If I swallow this, it gets to the point where I cannot breathe at all. I'm like, I can breathe a little bit, but it's so difficult.
Strobridge says she got the virus in February 2020 before tests were widely available. But she says she had all the symptoms, and even her latest medical records show a history of COVID-19. She applied for federal disability for long COVID in the fall, but got rejected.
It's ridiculous because I already had other disabilities that I should have qualified for anyway.
When I reached out to the Social Security Administration, a spokesperson couldn't tell me how many claims mentioning COVID were accepted or denied, saying, quote, while a case may have a COVID-19 flag, it does not mean that COVID-19 is the reason for the disability application or that it affected the outcome of the decision.
But there'll be days where I have like tons of energy. I'm like, oh God, this is great.
Meanwhile, Strobridge wants more federal lawmakers to understand their daily struggle.
And then I suffer when I actually take advantage of that and I go out and I do things. And then all of a sudden for the next 3 days, I'm laid up and I can't do anything because it's like that took so much energy.
The CDC says the agency is still investigating who gets long COVID and how those symptoms impact our bodies. In Washington, Kirstin Garriss, Boston 25 News. For many black women, the March for Equal Rights
y'all are the wombs that are at risk.
Has landed on the steps of the U.S. Supreme Court, where a pending opinion could change abortion access.
We will not have access.
Kenda Suttonell is the executive director of Birth in Color RVA in Richmond, Virginia. She says limiting access to abortion clinics will have a direct impact on black women's health care.
People go there for a pap smear. People go there for contraceptive. They go there for birth control. And so when we think about the clinics and stuff that are providing that care, we can't just really think of them as abortion clinics.
CDC data shows black women are nearly 3 times more likely to die during or after childbirth compared to white women. But if abortions are mostly banned, researchers predict those deaths could jump by 33% among black women. But even if they survive, Suttonell says the price to pay is high.
I know I can't afford this baby, but you're forcing mothers to take care of their children. But you want to also look at what social services provides and try to take that away from them too.
Another study shows regardless of race, women who were denied an abortion experienced an increase in poverty, evictions, and bankruptcies. But anti-abortion rights groups say there are resources available.
When women are pregnant and are scared or have young children and can't pay their bills or can't, provide for their basic needs, they contact us.
Kelly Lester knows this personally. She's had 4 abortions and even worked at an abortion clinic before shifting her perspective and joining pro-love ministries.
Women are better than abortion, and women of color are for sure better than abortion. And to say that that is the best that we have for them is really doing a disservice to them.
One resource is the Family Foundation. What is your outreach when it comes to black women? What is being done to reach out to this community?
Yeah, well, the amazing thing is there are so many groups and they tend to work together, and oftentimes people will turn to their family, their friends, and where they gather support. So sometimes that's a faith-based community, and so it's making sure that those are ready to step in immediately with the resources.
With some states planning to ban abortion quickly if Roe v. Wade is overturned, both sides are preparing.
If we can support her, if we can encourage her, if we can provide resources for her, then she will choose life.
No one should be able to take your voice away from you, no matter what choice you decide to make.
In Washington, Kirstin Garriss, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.